JM Race Engines is a new business in north central Missouri that have you covered from top to bottom for all your engine needs. Purpose-built engines with the correct amount of clearance will get you to the end of any show, whether it's your local shows or on the national level, where you can't be let down by your equipment. With top-level professional machine work to all engines, your choice of build is totally up to you. JM Race Engines will give you the confidence to push your equipment to the max while giving you your preferred horsepower to boot. From LS builds all the way to your exotic level small blocks that your imagination can only dream of, they have you covered.
But it doesn't stop there. They are also a speed shop that carries a variety of heads, carburetors, intakes, plug wires, helmets, and other safety equipment, and the best VP fuel on the market today to take you to the top. So if you're wanting mild build to wild build, let JM Race Engines help take you there.
DerbyNation.tv is your one-stop shop for your Demolition Derby pay-per-view needs. With a schedule like no other, you can catch all the shows you want to watch at the touch of a button from the comfort of your living room without leaving your house. But pay-per-view derbies aren't the only thing that they can get you. You can also carry a monthly subscription to watch the ever-growing Derby Builds, where you get all the behind-the-scenes action on different build processes with the Derby Builds team, including team show cars and even some national level youth builds.
And if you can't make it to that big show in person, go ahead, host that shop watch party, and let DerbyNation.tv bring excitement of Demolition Derby action straight to your shop live on your TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast, Summer of Team Shows.
Full remote outside Bowling Green, Missouri.
Real remote.
Baker Compound.
In the middle of the woods.
In a ravine. Don't walk outside.
It's hotter than fucking here, too.
If you walk outside, walk straight out. Don't make a left.
If you make two lefts, you're going to be down.
Way the fuck down.
Well,
Jeremy Baker, what's up, buddy?
How much? How are you guys doing?
We're not going to lie. This is the second time we've got to do this.
yeah.
We're pretty damn honest about shit.
Yeah, 100%. We fucked up. We just talked to him for 20 minutes.
And I hit, we have to restart, dudes.
That's why you're going to get the fuck at the beginning of this one. Well, let's start back where we were. Team show, Salisbury.
First team listed.
Yep.
Jeremy and Lane.
Uh-huh.
Lane ran last year the not-so-hot stock.
Yeah, it was stockish.
Round stock.
Square stock.
All stock.
You guys are running their stock team show.
First motherfucking call out of the show.
Why?
Well, if you're going to be the best, you got to beat the best. And Jake's one of the best. We ran with each other and against each other for years. And I'd rather take my chances first round in fresh cars than when me or him won. Either one's beat down at the end. So we'll do it first right out the rip. If we both junk each other, we'll drink beer and watch.
Right, and that's what I said. This not being an 80s and newer, class. Mm-hmm. You know what Jake Reed's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Cadillac.
Yeah.
And he knows what I'm bringing, I promise you.
Well, and everybody does. Like, they know for sure what body will be on it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they may not know what's under it.
You know how hard it is to fit a Lincoln body on an 84 Monte Carlo? It sucks. I mean, it's flat sucks, guys.
Is the hump deformation a little bit different on the package?
We straightened her out.
Still pretty tight back here, though.
It's a reverse tuck. They actually tuck the trunk underneath of it.
It's about like a Boat Riviera back there now.
But, we heard the chatter of, do those two guys not get along? Well, no, they get along great.
They get along great.
They've been friends for years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yep. We ran together. We ran against each other. We drank beer together.
Well,
Yeah,
hell,
we
he
had no problems.
bought a car off George,
Yeah, last week.
but
And I knew he bought it. You said, too slow, boys.
She gone.
And as soon as that said, I was like, Jeremy done got that son of a bitch.
It caught my attention. It was stripped, and it was my jam.
it wasn't the one cut in half.
No,
In the
no,
shop.
no. I hope he doesn't before I get there, because that may be what I run. So I really hope he don't hurt it before I get there.
He's out there dumping acid in the boxes.
Yeah. Why does this thing got 56 holes in it they don't normally have? Brave.
He was pre-drilling your
Yeah.
tech. That's what he was doing.
That's where the pins go.
Thanks, George.
You didn't say pinned, I hope.
Oh, no, I don't know
Did you
what
say
you're talking
pinned?
about.
Okay.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I got seen some pictures on his poster today about that.
I seen a video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
old Georgie.
But that show, we're going to get to see the top end of that build, you know, down to the bottom end of it. And the rule set, as long as it's, you know, as long as it's enforced, that's a badass rule set.
It is. It is. I told Landon, promised me he was going to keep everybody legit this year, because I was supposed to run it last year. I started asking questions, and I told Lance, this is not stock, and I'm not running it, not stock.
Jeremy says, this is not for me.
No, out. So Landon said this year he was going to make it legit, so we're going to go try her out.
Well, and back with, you know, Jeremy's promoting, you know, background, it's so easy to get off track whenever you're doing those rules and stuff to make sure that you've got that car count, but it's way fucking easier to stick with what you say is going to happen.
Then the car count will come.
Yeah.
I promise you.
You
stick to
might
what
you
say.
might have a couple rough shows,
Yep.
but as soon as they see the consistency and that you're not bullshitting, the car count will show up.
Yep. You know, that's what I went and Lane told me about Tyler and Nanny at Madison last year. I ought to come run. I'm like, I'm gonna come watch first.
Yeah.
And I went and watched 2 shows, and then I ran one. You
Right.
know, but I'm gonna watch first.
100%. Because if I think it runs with any promoter, you're only as good as what your word is. And if you say one thing, I show up and I look back and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it didn't say you couldn't do that.
Doesn't say
Oh,
you
no,
can't
it didn't
either.
say, there was no wording that said no mid plate.
Yeah. I'm like, well, fuck you, first off, because that's an LS and it's buried in the firewall. Like,
Yeah.
hold up.
So you had stepped away from promoting, went camping and fishing. That lasted roughly 6 years or so.
About 2.5. About 2.5. 2.5. And the boat is actually sold, waiting for the guy to come pick it up. So
So you, when you got done promoting, you got done running as well. Tucker wasn't quite ready for your
Well,
shit
Jeremy
at that.
said he didn't-
Yeah, your shit at that point in time.
no, he didn't want nothing to do with it. Literally, I had
He was probably still riding dirt bikes and shit down
yeah
that road.
tearing up my road. I had my whole car that I took out to Nebraska sitting there, and I said, "Do you want it before I sell it?" I ain't doing that dumb shit. Was his exact words. Well,
And now look at him.
yeah.
Now he
Doing
won't,
that dumb
What
shit.
did he run 4 times last summer?
Yep.
now he won't shut up about it.
And speaking of Border Wars, that was your retirement show in quotations there. That was
Last
an
ride?
emotional one.
It was. Let's say, when I strapped in that car to go out there, I knew that was, could be it. And when I pulled on the track, I had tears coming out of my eyes. Like I say, it was pretty rough.
And
And you know what? It was rough pulling on the track, but after the heat, and I knew it was over, I sat in the car. If you watch that video, I sat in the car for about 30 seconds before I ever got out of it that night.
well, and I mean, with your background in demolition derby, you know, your whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you'd raised your kids on it.
Promoting derbies with your wife,
Yeah.
promoting derbies with your kids, getting raised, running with brothers and family members, and then you can sit there and watch Lane keep going as you backed off, and then we're just going to talk. When I hadn't seen you forever, go to the monsoon at Bowling Green last year. You and I were talking there before the drivers' meeting.
See, I didn't think the weather was too bad at Bowling.
Shut your fucking hole.
Wrong day, asshole.
You must have been in Kentucky.
So you and I actually spoke, and you set the boys down and said, as long as you're not building this hard bullshit like you did this year, and back down to this stock stuff, you were going to start running again. One, you could run with both your boys.
Yep.
Once this little shit next to you left the youth class.
Yeah, I ran mods, and light welds and all that stuff for years, and it got to where there was just, in my opinion, those classes got out of hand for what I wanted to run. Not for everybody, but for what I wanted to do, they were out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And they were both, whenever Tucker decided he wanted to run, they were on me. You ran with Lane. You never ran with me. Trying to guilt me, I heard this all the time. He was getting mad. It's like, I said, tell you what. I said, that's when Lane talked about mass. I said, I'll go watch. And then I stood there at the lift, and I watched them guys tech cars and realized they were legit. And I said, okay. I said, I'll build one. And so like I said, we all three built one and went and had a good time.
That you did. Being gone for as long as you did on the promoting side, but I think once you have respect as a promoter, I think you get more respect going through that tech line. Being you're the one getting teched.
To a certain extent, yeah. I think they may look at your car harder some places because they know that you've seen things.
Correct.
You've seen things. So I feel like we the one I was supposed to retire out of Nebraska, we went through a thrashing tech. I mean, I cut for 7.5 hours out there, and
He passed out that one time.
I literally passed out with torch main over. It was so hot that year, and I got overheated, and it was bad. But I think you a more thorough tech. I'd say like me and Lane have been through the same show before at a big show, and our cars are built in the same shop. Exactly the same things were done to them. We rolled out of tech. I had a list. He had 2 things, and they were identical.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is what it is.
You are not the first person that's ever said that.
Yeah.
And
am I going to throw my son under the bus? Say, no, I'm not. But
no, you're going to go back to the pit, you little bastard.
yeah, that's exactly what I said.
I got my stuff cut before he even got back.
I was going to say,
So
that's when you're going to be like, now grab the torch and help me cut this shit.
Yeah.
I didn't let Freaky catch me.
Bad, I ain't catching you anyways.
No, you're not the only person that's ever said that. And I don't think it's right. Stephen and I have both talked about that. I do not think it is right when you're attacking the driver instead of the car.
And you see it a lot. And honestly, I'll admit it, from a promoter standpoint, it's hard not to. Because you see Joe Blow that you don't know roll in with a car that you can already tell is built to the bottom side of the rules and shit. And then you see, Jeremy, Rob, Jake, Corey Ludington, Teddy P, all them guys roll in. You already know. I mean, you know that they've, especially if they're in their car.
You better check these spots.
Yes. I mean, that's, but you've got to hold them almost to a higher standard, especially if you're friends with them, whenever you're promoting those shows, because if not, hell, I was getting accused of the shit anyway. And a lot of times they were having to cut more than the other fucking people that were showing up.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, when me and Rob, we went on lots of vacations and stuff together, you know, and as when it came to Tech Line, you know, like you say, I was just as strict to him, if not stricter than I was anybody else, you know. So
I mean, we've been into it and shit before and broke them off, and you know, and it is what it is. But after the Derby's over, I mean, we're good. I'll buy you some beer and we can hang out. I'll come over and drink or whatever. But
there you go.
Like at the show, that's how it's got to be.
You have to be a respectful asshole. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think
you can't mix business and pleasure.
No.
Not even if it's pleasureful business.
Last time I ran your show, you tried to get me killed. So my seatbelt fell off at Shelbina. I was trying to flag you down.
I do remember that.
I think that was the last show you put on there.
That was always a good place to put on a show.
I
liked Shelbina.
I like the stands and everything there. Yeah,
Okay.
Fair board's super nice and appreciative, and
willing to help with whatever.
Yeah, exactly. What is that? Is Randy was always how I dealt with up there. He was a great guy to deal with.
And see, I dealt with like Aaron Kendrick and those guys. They're just top notch. Hell, because I come in that second year and I was like, I need more money. I was like, and we're gonna have to put it toward this show. Like, that's what I want to do with it. And they're like, yeah, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know. I had 96 cars and you'd had 12 the year before, so I think that speaks a little bit for itself. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Because hell, I had 2 shows a year there, and hell, after we quit promoting, that was done. That was over with.
It went back to 1.
Yep.
It did go back to 1. Now, my question to you is, we know you weren't missing promoting.
No, not so much. Not so much. I told Steven earlier, I said, if you ever think you want to go back there and promote, and just stick your hand in the door and slam it. I see that's how painful it is some nights.
And it is. I mean, it's like that. Before you didn't record the first one.
There's always going to be that guy.
It was recording, asshole.
I'm watching it now.
Well, so am I.
But no, I said just set your ringtone that you've got for your calls and your text messages. Start it at 10:30 at night and let it run till about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 weeks before the show, and that's what promoting is like. And it's going to be the same stupid fucking questions every time. A lot of times, I'd have people call me, and it was shit that I'd already told them, like, no, you
the
can't.
previous show.
Yeah.
I told you last show. It didn't change for the next one.
No. And that was another thing that we've talked about, and I bet you can agree with this, is we would have somebody that would slide through with something.
I had that on last
We'd
last
catch it
show.
at
I
the
had
next
that.
show.
Yeah.
Well, it was like that last time.
I don't care.
Well, happy birthday, motherfucker. But today is not your day.
Yeah. You got
cut
caught
that
today.
shit.
Today you will cut
Yes.
or load the piece of shit.
Yeah.
Fixing to learn.
And that's the way it got toward the end of us promoting. Like, I was so sick of dealing with it that whenever I was done with the discussion bullshit, like, here's what we're doing. Load the motherfucker or cut it. I don't care. Whatever you want to do.
Your choice. Done got your
it's
money.
100% up to you.
That's what it's pretty much how it's got to be. You can't. I mean, it's got to be that way.
Yeah.
Either fix it or don't. Or put it on a trailer. You know, I don't care what the car count is. Fix it or don't.
Yeah, because, well, and I had, Jerry Lyerly, there was some shit that he did that I didn't agree with, but he was my head tech,
Yep.
and I backed him. Like, that's how it worked.
You got to.
Yeah.
You got to, or there's no reason for you to have a separate head tech.
Right. There was no reason I was paying him what I was paying him.
Correct.
If I was just going to go over his head.
Which that did bite you in the ass a couple times. I mean, Tyler Ray can tell you.
Yeah.
Just bring it. It's a cleanup show. Fuck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was my bad.
I brought nothing.
That was my bad, because I was like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't expect him to show up with what
Quite
he had.
that.
Loaded
Yeah.
for bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going grizzly hunting is what the fuck he was doing.
Oh, yeah. And then we had the guy that was a foot too short up front that he's like, oh, I messaged you and you said it'd be okay. I was like, hold up. We're going to pull this fucking message up right now. And I went through there and he's like, yeah, the front end might be a little bit too short for your rules. I was like, Oh, so if we're within, a couple of inches, like, yeah, we'll work with it. It's a cleanup show. Showed up was 9 inches short.
I guessed a foot.
There was the 12-inch bumper bracket was touching the spring pocket on a Cadillac.
Holy cow! I tell you who is the master of text messages, and he'll keep them for years. Is Teddy P.
Oh yeah,
he will store stuff in that phone for years.
Well, he was number one fact checker when we started this fucking podcast. He'd be like, "That's not how it happened." I'm like, motherfucker, leave me alone.
Oh, Teddy.
Yeah, he'd bring stuff back from years before. It's like, why do you still have that?
Just sometimes people want to take the time to prove their point.
Well, and it took me about a year to figure that out. That whenever I text these people back or message them back, like, you better
read it before you send it.
Oh yeah, you better stand on it. Whenever whatever you send, you better be ready to back it.
And me and you promoted little fair shows and stuff. But like when I was head tech for UD for 2 years, you talk about interesting text that you better really read because you're getting the best in the United States.
Oh yeah,
sending you. They're trying to word it. To make you say the wrong thing.
Correct.
And you better read it about 4 or 5 times before you even think about answering.
And better type what your
grammar. I never thought that grammar, the way that you worded shit onto
Pete.
Fuck.
Onto or in or at or whereas.
Yeah, and I'm like, hold up, wait a second.
I'm an old country boy. That's all I got.
Like, I can't hardly talk. Like, and you want me to give you a fucking grammar lesson here? Let's not do that.
Country grammar.
Yeah,
that's different. So, dude, you guys' first show this year is Salisbury team show. It is you and Lane. You're taking a Monte Carlo with a Lincoln body. Lane is taking a Pacer wagon.
With a 2.3.
Those are getting hard to find too. Clean ones. We had to get big money for that fucker out of Texas. I mean, it was quite a deal.
You probably could have went right across the river, and I know where there's a real clean one.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't have had to drive all the way down there.
You want a Texas clean?
Yeah, Texas clean.
There ain't no
Mama
clean
said
ones
I'd
around
take
here.
her on vacation with another car. So Mama gets what she wants.
Go to Brownsville.
Yeah.
Go do a little fishing.
You wouldn't believe how many are down there still, though. They're everywhere.
Guys, if y'all are believing any of that shit I just said, you don't know these guys.
Well, we're going to have some people out west and shit that listen. They're going to be like, what in the fuck kind of team show are they running?
Man, those two rules are way separate from each other. Talked to you at Bowling Green this last year, and that's when you decided, boys, we're going to back it down to the stock type of build instead of the hot stock or street stock or round stock and square stock. So you'd be able to run with them. Does it mean a little bit more when you've kind of stepped back, taken it all in, seen how well they have progressed, especially Lane going from a heavier build coming back to where you would like, and then Tucker all of 24 finishing in the money in every show that he was in at that same type of build?
Yeah. I know I've always said that people should have to drive a stock car before they drive a hard car. You need to learn how to drive that car, both ends of it, before you can just build a car and blast, forward. I think it makes a better driver.
It makes a driver.
Mm-hmm.
And, back when I started in 97, you had to use both ends of the car. I mean, there wasn't an option, or you weren't going to make it to the end,
Mm-hmm.
And now my neck don't work as good, so the ass end don't get used near as often as it used to.
Case in
Madison,
point,
you can tell.
Madison, Missouri.
As you see on the trailer out there.
Yeah.
So what Steven's actually saying is this son of a bitch is snooted to the moon on the front. And
You could still
I'm pretty
put your
sure there's
groceries in the
still
trunk
chrome on the rear bumper.
We took the all-thread out of the trunk yesterday. It's still straight.
We're working on getting him a rear view camera for the roof sign so he can back up now.
Hey, it's you and Randy Moore.
That shit's going down. Like it's happening more than what
Yeah,
you
Randy
think.
is not the only person that's ever done
No.
it. He was just the first son of a bitch I know that did.
Right.
Yeah, they brought me a rearview mirror. I was going to put it in the car last year, and I didn't do it, but I wish I had. But I mean, Madison got pretty heated pretty fast.
Well, it did. It was there was a hell of a pace at the beginning of it. Like, I mean, it was still fast paced, but I would say 5 to 8 minutes into that show, it was fucking pandemonium.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the whole time it came down to us three, and the whole time we were junking each other. I'm thinking, I gotta fix all this shit.
Why did I do that?
But he didn't stop.
No,
No.
he didn't stop.
What do you even
I
know?
did, but I threw the checker flag.
We didn't know it was going to be us when we went out there. We thought there'd be more cars, but it just happened to be all of us when we went out there.
Well, because Tucker won the youth class,
We pulled
brought
him
it
down.
in, pulled it down. I think you got to put. Did you
We
get a
didn't
couple
put no
of
plates
you didn't,
on it.
no plates?
No plates. We just pulled him and Weston's bill car both down, and they came back. And I'm glad he didn't get no plates because he gave me all I wanted without any. I mean, I was barely able to see, and I drove her deep one more time, got hung in him, and that's where she ended.
So there is.
Yeah, because the whole time I was sitting up top, I was like, hey, Jeremy better do something, like, now. Like, because he's about to get fucked up. Like,
Yeah. Well, me and Lane were getting it on, so like I had.
Yeah.
And at one time, and I told them all week, I said they were talking shit about our local nursing home here is called Country View. They said we're going to have Country View come up there. That way, after the heat race, they can just take you on up there. And I just listened to this shit for a couple weeks. And about 2 days before the show, we were out here mouthing. They were mouthing. It was late at night, and I'm like, you know what? You two little pussies. That's like, if it gowns us three, you two better run together.
And hold the fuck on.
That was actually the first time I ran a manual in a car, so I was fighting that too.
And where's it at now?
Not in a car.
Not going in the car yet.
I went back to an automatic this year.
Was that Muncie you tried?
It was a 3-speed. Yep. That's why I was so pretty much fast pace. I was dumping the
He
clutch
didn't
and
have
hitting
no
whatever.
other pace.
I'm going to tell y'all right
I was
now.
dumping
which
the clutch and just letting it go.
we've talked so much that Steven will tell you he is not coordinated enough to run a three-pedal line.
Which you all know, and anybody that runs a car, there's a lot going on anyway.
There is.
Well, whenever I've got to fiddle fuck around with a shifter or my foot getting tied up in a 3-pedal setup down there, like, there's not a lot of room in them cars anyway.
Not for us.
No. And because everybody gives me shit, the first thing I do whenever I'm building my cage is we will set the seat in, move it 3 inches back past the front.
Mine's in the back floorboard.
Yes. Yep. And that's why everybody makes fun of me, because I wrap a pillow around that B pillar. But I've been knocked out twice over that shit because that's where my seat's at.
Yep.
Hell, like in that Cadillac that I took to Bristol, whenever I was backing up, I was looking out the back window of it. Like out because it was a 4-door, I was looking out the back window of it.
You should have looked a little more and looked at the dirt burn.
Snuck up on you.
Sorry, I just take that jab.
Fuck that car anyway. Shit was ridiculous.
Dudes, I tried to talk him out of not taking it.
What else was I going to do? Build a Ford motor?
Didn't even have to build a Ford motor. I told you just get a hold of Robbie, get that simplified
I
shit,
wasn't
put
buying
it
that
on.
shit because I was never going to run one again. I told you this, and I told him the
But
same
you
thing.
might.
I won't.
But you very well
I
could.
won't.
Might as well take it to
I
Quincy
would
and
have
do
been
some
better
races.
off taking a fucking Mopar. I'm not joking. Because I had all the shit to do that too. I will take an M-body Mopar against a metric GM any fucking day of the week.
I didn't disagree with that statement when you made it 8 months ago, 9 months ago. Just as long as you didn't say an in-body Mopar against a Ford.
Right. Which I didn't have to worry about that anyway. I didn't figure I was going to run that long. To get down to that.
That's when it always happens. When you always expect it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, I almost got a check.
The paint was still sticky on the car when we got there.
I've been on the business end of the front of a car before, and it starts going, and you're like, Man, I probably should have used ass in a little more. I'm going to run out of car for you this thing.
So after Salisbury, you guys got anything on the agenda that you can talk about that's not so all secretive, like the Derby community is?
I think right now I got playing is Bowling Green. Playing it by ear after that, pretty much.
We talked about that last week. Bowling Green 3-man team show.
Yep.
That is something that they changed. You kind of called me a while back and kind of gave me a heads up of what was choice they were going to make with that idea.
Not my choice, their choice.
We conversed about that for a while too. Man, do you got as much excitement for that show as you do the Salisbury show?
I'm not running it because it's a 3-man, and there's not room for me. So, I hate missing my hometown show. Maybe I'll run a singles event or something up there if they come out with something.
Gut and go.
Hope compact. I'm thinking about compact. I love compacts. I'm gonna see if me and Alan want to both build a compact and go up there.
About to get him a sunroof.
If you all
Camry.
do that, maybe me, you, and Alan Brown could get in a 3-man.
With 3-man compact.
We'll have to get sunroof Camry, so you can stick your head through the roof like a giraffe.
Yeah. So no, I let the boys. They wanted to run, and my nephew wants to run. So I stepped back and let them have it. And I figured 2 cars is gonna be enough to fix overnight, let alone 3, anyways.
Now, you just said that the anticipation of a 2-day show. Does that change your build process at all? I mean, I know it's stock to stock. We know this. Those 2 stock rules for the shows that we are actually talking about, 1 Salisbury, 1 Bowling Green. There is a few little minute differences. There's not a great, big, huge amount. But knowing that you got 1 day to put on a show or you got 2 days, does that change the build process? Does that change the mentality of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it?
I build the same car no matter what. If it comes out of this shop, and the boys will tell you, I'm kind of anal and they get pissed at me sometimes. But every car I build is going to be the same quality of build, I think, and any team show, I feel like any team show you're going to run it. Most people are going to run it hard because it's a team show. You got to beat that team you're against. So, I think it's about the same.
Now, why does that change? You just said it. When it's a team show, it does seem that people drive harder.
It's heads up. If you got a 30 car feature out there, you may be able to play the game for a while and play cat and mouse or whatever. But if you don't beat that team you're against, you're going to the consi. And if you don't make the consi, you're over for the night. So
correct.
Like back to my original thing, I'd rather take my best equipment right off the rip, see how we swing.
Get it over faster too. If a better car, you can go straight to the feature. What's in your hand?
So,
yeah, best case scenario is you draw somebody that their partner didn't pass tech.
Correct.
Yeah.
Going a man down right off the rip. Now,
Which that's hard to do whenever you call somebody out right off the fucking rip.
So pretty much know what's going to happen when we show up. Yeah. And when you call out that person, you pretty much know what you're going up against.
Good thing about Salisbury, you'll have more time to work on car draw in the first heat too.
This is very true.
That's another reason I wanted the first heat.
Uh-huh.
We did it at Palmyra.
That was
first
our
team to pass tech.
First team to pass tech got heat choice. If they wanted to be first heat
or last.
That was
and of course they passed it and said we want heat number 1.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, because it wasn't like we were like, you can't work on your car until the last heat pulls off. No. As soon as you were done,
get it on.
And that's why we offered call outs. Like, hey, if you all want to call out, I said, we're just going to start stacking you as the heats go.
They didn't offer it at Salisbury. We just kind of offered it ourselves. To
my knowledge, you're the only one that's done it.
I guess. Hell, Wickett's full of it, but I guess everybody at Salisbury wants to take their chances.
I thought Logan would, but I guess he's too scared to call somebody out.
I'm like throwing anybody under the bus.
Wow.
I think we ought to be able to do like phone in call outs. Like we get to make the call out for them. Then we can put it to a vote.
You know, call-outs weren't a thing until Street Outlaws.
Correct.
Right.
That's when it all came about.
It did.
If you got a set of nuts, go ahead and let's do it, boys.
Yeah.
And-
Well, and not a horrible idea. I mean, I love it because it adds to the build-up of the show. 100%. You know, everybody's talking about Wicked,
Oh, yeah.
you know, because of all the call-outs there.
Yeah.
And honestly, it runs right downhill to your county fairs because everybody locally, they know who's going to be there, what's running and shit.
Well, maybe after this airs Thursday, we'll have some more Salisbury call-outs.
Yeah. Most of you boys listen, so
Yeah.
that's going to be on the table for Thursday. Man the fuck up, just
Well,
like
we need to-
Jeremy did.
Logan needs to grow some balls, I guess.
And Logan Baker, you are being called out by family
Two call-out.
right now to man up and accept a call out or give a call
The
out.
whole school said you wouldn't.
All the cool kids do it.
Well, there is teams on that list that are like I know there's worthy of call outs there.
Yes.
Like, and I mean, because I know there's some beef there anyway. Like, why wouldn't you go ahead and do it? Fuck it.
And there's some people, if they want to maybe take an easier route, they're there too.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't go that route. But
Right. Now you
No, you did the polar
kind of went
fucking
the opposite
opposite.
direction with that.
Yeah, you're well, fuck it. Let's do it now.
Because what you all did was offered somebody else a shot.
To not take an ass whooping.
Well, I mean, all
Really?
bullshit aside, however that heat turns out, you all saved somebody.
An ass whooping.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, from either side. Because it wasn't like you all were going to go out there and try to bag it to the end of it anyway.
Negative. Well, Monties are hard.
So we're just going to keep up with that. You're gonna stick with that. Fair enough. All right.
And
Should've
Alan
seen
Brown's
music.
going to be on a mower.
You should have seen Muse's face when he built me a 2-3 pacer cradle. He was pretty confused.
Yeah, Alan Brown, he'll be on his Craftsman.
Yeah. I wonder if he hates mowers or compacts more.
Yes.
I think they're yeah.
He probably sells.
Yes.
He probably has a snapper laying around still.
I heard he was bringing a zero turn.
With the deck still
Yeah.
on it.
Grasshopper.
With the deck still on it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hit some local shows too. Run some single stuff. I like Damian Tyler's promoting. I think they're doing a good thing.
They're killing it right now. Locally, they are fucking killing
Yeah,
it.
I think they got a good thing going. And I think we're gonna run some up there.
Now, all the local drivers that run, pay attention whenever I say this. Don't run them off.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait till you're gone.
Yep.
Till they're gone.
Yep. Nobody
Yeah.
loves you until you're gone. That's
Well, nobody realizes how much they miss you until you're gone.
That's
Or
exactly
how much you do,
fucking
how much
right.
work you actually do until it's not there.
Correct.
You know, we had a 100-car show at Madison, and we gave it up that winter because, like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, do it for a while. Do it for a while.
100%. That's what everybody was like. Why in the fuck would you quit? I was like, take my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this prick, he would like be off of all social media platforms for like 4 days.
After
You
the
had
show,
to be.
yeah.
You had to be just to kind of chill out.
But my dumb ass kept doing it. And so I was seeing it all, and I said, you haven't seen it.
you
Nope,
learn
just
anything?
get ready. Yeah, there's some dumb son of a bitches in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd call me and be like, hey, have you seen that comment? I was like, no. He's like, well, I said, there's going to be another derby next weekend. I said, they'll forget all about what I fucked up on that last show. Because derby drivers have the shortest memory
That is for
of any motherfuckers I've ever met in my life.
Or next week there'll be new drama starting anyways, and they'll forget
100%.
about all of it.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's 100% how all that works.
There's always derby drama.
Because you're only a piece of shit until somebody else fucks up.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll agree with that
My
statement.
favorite scrutiny always come from the drunk dumb fuck standing behind you while you're on the dirt that could barely afford the ticket to get into the fucking show. Yeah, they're like, you dumb son of a bitch, what are you doing? I'm like, Go lay down. I said, you couldn't have rented the goddamn fairgrounds that we're on right now.
I think we had it at Paris that last show, and that guy was fighting.
Yeah. Fucking idiot.
Came out of nowhere.
Well, yeah, he started a huge fight, got in trouble, got maced and shit. Well, then wants to try to sue us over the fight. Gets himself in more trouble when he calls the law on us because he's a registered sex offender, wasn't supposed to be at a fucking public park. I was like, you're an idiot.
That's like calling the cops because somebody just dipped you out of a quarter bag of blow.
Yeah.
They gave you baking soda instead.
Yeah. You know, used to be at Madison.
This guy stole my weed.
Madison's kind of chilled out now, but, you know, years ago.
Kind of.
I mean, it's better. Way better than used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember guys jumping out on hoods of cars when cars were still moving, and
Mom and sisters and shit are fighting
if
in
the
the fucking stands.
family
Oh, yeah.
couldn't find anybody else to fight, they fight each other.
Yes.
So it's 100% better than it used to be there.
Do you think it's just because of? Well, she kind of did say it. I mean, that's really what this sport has been known for is dumbass rednecks.
100%.
We've said, I don't know how many times we've said that, probably 136 out of 150 episodes. But is it that? So here's how I'm gonna word this. Jeremy's not running, okay? Both Jeremy's kids, Jeremy's brother, and Jeremy's nephew is out on the track. Do you foresee Jeremy as a person would get pissed to the extent of going out on the track to make himself and his family look
because
like
he's not a fucking idiot.
Total and complete dumbass, or a learning experience?
Well, I have about the farthest I've ever taken is yelling through a fence. And after I stood back, I'm like, man, that was pretty fucking stupid. Like, you look like an idiot doing that.
You should join in the crowd.
Yeah, because you're better off to just wait until the dust settles, go out, talk it through to whoever fucked up. Like, I watched certain promoters that was beating, banging, wanting to fight the fucking drivers and shit. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It doesn't work. I mean, you look like an idiot, and then all you're doing is escalating the situation.
You know, I've had some guys when I promoted it, and they would have an issue with something that happened in the show, but they wouldn't act like morons. After the show, they'd come find me, and they'd say, hey, I don't think this was right. And we talk about it, you know, and usually there's sometimes I was wrong, sometimes I wasn't wrong. But so after the conversation, you know, it wasn't a bunch of idiots out there fighting. It was just us talking about it.
100%, and I will use him as an example every time because he was super level-headed, respectful, and we made it work. Justin Meyer's brother. Whenever he got shoved out the gate, one of my guys on the other end timed him out. It was the wrong car. It straight up was not right. It was on us. He waited till after the heat was over. We were all reconvening around the announcer's stand. He come out there and was like, hey, can I holler at you for a second? Yeah. He's like, hey, I want to show you this. He's like, I don't know what we need to do. He's like, but here's what happened. I was like, you know what, that's fair. And we took the money out of our pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them got third. They got both paid for third. And I said, you all can flip for the trophy. And that's on you. But that's how, I mean, that worked way better than the dumb motherfucker that was trying to throw a beer can at me or a beer bottle at me. And I told him, he was like reared back about ready to throw this beer bottle at me. And I said, if you throw the fucking thing, I'm just going to move down the line of whoever got out before you did. I said, you're not going to get shit. And I'm going to call it, the cops are going to get you the fuck out of here now.
That's right.
And after that, he kind of calmed down a little bit. But you're just going to deal, I mean, you're going to deal with that in anything really. Like, because I've seen dumbasses fighting at football games and everything else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's one in every crowd.
And usually when the feature's going on, everybody's had enough alcohol encouragement that they're a lot braver.
That's why I never allowed coolers in any of our derbies, ever. We always had a beer garden, and I made sure that the prices were high enough that they weren't going to drink a case of beer there.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, oh, dude, your fucking beer's high. I'm like, yeah, it is. I was like, but Madison will let you
Bring a cooler in.
carry 900 beers in and drag their show out for 9 hours. Well, everybody's drank both those cases of beer, and they're ready to fight by the feature.
That's for sure.
Now, if somebody wanted to drink a case of beer at my derby, it was going to cost them $200.
And he's being serious.
I wasn't trying to make money off the beer. I was just trying to keep the crowd calm down. Because anytime you add that much alcohol to anything, you're going to have an issue.
That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, everybody gets balls of steel when they get
Oh, yeah.
a case of beer in them.
So, the next looming question on my brain, you're coming back. You started last year in 24, 25. You plan on running a few more than what you did last year. Or is there any national level shows possibility?
Oh, maybe if there's some single events or something. I won't do the team thing anymore. I ran, out of Kansas on team shows, and that doesn't interest me anymore. I don't want to work on cars all weekend anymore. That's over with. But if there's a single event, me and Dale Culbert talk a lot. We'd like to go run a few places. Dale's here. We talk all the time. He's got parts here still from Sturgis, but me and him are kind of in the same mindset on stuff. We like to, we like to run good drivetrains, but not a crazy hard car.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love these stock singles.
yeah,
And like Sam just keeps adding them.
yeah.
They fill up so fast. He's like, well, fuck it, we'll do it again.
I was going to try to go to Carnage this year and run a singles, but they didn't have anything, so that's out.
Yeah, because that makes sense to like get rid of the class that fills up
Yeah.
the fastest. That's
Me and
what I
Dale
do.
talked about that. He's like, it's just first class to fill,
Every time.
But I love going to Kansas. I've always had pretty good luck out there, running, and it's a good time. And it's close enough to home. It's not crazy, not Bristol.
Right. That was a haul.
Yeah, don't have to finance the house to go.
Put a transmission in your truck the day before.
Oh man, the worst deal about all that shit was having to load the shop. It looked like Sanford and Sons.
Oh
going
yeah,
down there.
that's why. Same way with running team shows. We took a 24-foot trailer with us when we ran team show out there with motors and trannies and everything. And last time I ran mod team show out there, I don't think I slept maybe 6 hours in 3 days. It was miserable, you know.
Well, I knew that I was fucking up whenever we was going to Bristol, and I was loading a rear end on the trailer. I was like, what the fuck am I doing right now?
Because you think, I'm being honest here, you do truthfully think, okay, if we do got to run a heat and we step on it, then we got to run a consi. You don't want to let your teammate down.
Well, that's why I took all that shit.
What?
I said that's why I took everything I did.
Yes. And I do really think everybody is going to do the same thing, or they're going to have the mindset of, I'm going to send this bitch in the heat. I'm going to junk it. I'm not going to fix it.
Because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
That's what you said you were going to do.
But we seen how that worked out. I took everything with me.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I ran team show in Kansas was mods, and we ran. I changed. This is fully protected stuff, and we changed 2 transmissions in my car that weekend. We completely rebuilt the car about 3 times, and it takes the fun out of it for me. I mean, I love watching the guys that enjoy doing it, but I am not that guy anymore.
Correct. And I've said it so many
I'll
times.
help that guy.
Like at Blizzard Bash and shit, I have never got to experience what all my buddies would actually go do. Go get hammered, go to the strip club, get back in at 5 a.m. I never did that because I knew there was work to be done.
Yep.
I knew, especially with him, I was going to have to, we're either pulling transmissions out of this piece of shit 3 times in a weekend. And then that's not even porta powering it and, straightening everything out and pulling it down and doing whatever you got to do. I'm going to ask you, there's 3 of you sitting right here. There's Tucker is next to you, and Lane. We're in a 2-bay shop. How does the building requirements work when you've got 3 cars to do in 2 bays?
I'll let them answer that.
Well,
Tell you who goes last.
we usually pull one car at a time, and we stay pretty dedicated. Everybody knows pretty much what to do, so we have one. Everybody has a role they do. Everybody works on that one thing and work with each other to get stuff done.
And Dad's left.
My car is last.
Usually everybody works
So
together.
you divide and conquer
Yeah,
is what you do.
Usually everybody works together, and we figure out get stuff done that way. Works out the best instead of trying to build 3 cars all at the same time. You don't really miss nothing over that way either.
6 hands.
Bombing off in here that way either.
Yeah, 6 hands on the car at once per car.
Seem to get stuff done faster too that way, because everybody knows what to do and where to do it.
Well, when this is really your first Monty that you're running, how does all your years of building Fords go over to the Monties?
Well, it's pretty the same. Flat stock, round stock. It all pretty much does the same trick, and no matter what your car is.
Just where you putting it?
Just where you put it.
The good thing about a Pacer in a 2-bay shop, it don't take as much room either.
It doesn't. That's some of it's
Or
sitting in
Monty.
here sideways.
Or
Yeah.
Monty.
It's a lot easier.
So you all don't like waiting until the week before to start building your car or nothing?
No. Stuff usually don't go right when that happens. That's
well,
what happened last year at
Does it,
Salisbury.
Stephen?
What?
Does it?
What?
That's kind of what happened last year at Salisbury. I went out there and the first hit, distributor wire came off.
Don't be last minute.
Yeah, but you had your car pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
that don't let them bullshit you guys. I mean, that's just one of them stupid fucking things that happen. Because I get Snapchats enough where you were done, completely done a week or 2 before.
Yeah, it was pretty close the week before.
You ask him how soon I want to be done. You ask him that.
4 months.
It'll be on the trailer ready 3 weeks before.
Tiger tries painting his like a year before. He's ready for decals.
I was gonna say Tucker's was done a damn near a year early, and I was worried about the transmission going down the fucking gravel road and all this types of shit. I was like, man, he's gonna go out there and he's just gonna rod the piss out of that thing. And the next thing you know, he's gonna be dumping a transmission or a rear end, and Jeremy's gonna be going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Always worry about putting paint marker on the tires, make sure they look good. He'll say a crackhead on meth out here painting the tires.
Well, hey, hold on. You giving me shit about that. I didn't have a mechanical failure down there.
You swam in 6 gallons of water.
Well, how the fuck was that my fault? Broke a fucking radiator.
Well, maybe you should have used the ass.
I did against the dirt. It collapsed the fucking hump. Like,
You did not have mechanical issues.
that's that sewing machine motor I've got.
He just
You know, I've had a buddy of mine. He's passed away now. He's the one that started teaching me. When I started getting more competitive, he started showing me the ropes, kind of. And his philosophy on Derby was KISS. You know what that stands for? Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
Make sure all your wiring is perfect. Make sure he said, you ain't got to have the hardest car out there, but it's got to run and it's got to move. And there's been nights that I've won derbies and I wasn't the hardest car there, but it stayed running and stayed moving. You can take a D9 out there. If it don't run, you're wasting your time.
Well,
Correct.
Jeremy, you build motors, and I mean, this is not a new thing for you building motors.
No.
And whenever you were doing that, did you have a lot of people call you and they were like, "Hey, I want the motor that's going to be there at the end," or were they like, "I want something that everybody can hear, and I want to make sure I'm the loudest and I've got all the fucking horsepower"?
You have both, but you know, and Rob will tell you this best. You know, the one they hear the most, the last one runs into the night.
Bingo.
And you know, I'll build motors, but if you want some hot rod motor, I'll tell you to call somebody else because that's not what I'm building. You know, I'm building stuff that'll be there, it'll run hot, it'll stay running. You know, it'll sound good, but it's not going to be your 600 horse motor. But at the end of the night, you're still probably going to be there running.
No, because I've preached that. I mean, since I've started running, I want to make sure that everybody's like, "Well, mine will start when it's hot." I was like, I don't want mine to ever die.
That's right.
You see when
I
it rained
don't
west.
want to have to use the switch.
You know,
box on
you
that.
know the easiest time to kill somebody is when they're reaching for a key switch.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lay off of them when they're sitting there dead.
I mean, hell, everybody's seen my car that Cy ran at Madison. I mean, Lane beat the fucking wheels off of it.
He didn't want to
Tried
talk
to.
about that though. He still ignores me.
Every wheel
Oh
off
no,
of it.
it bent all 5 wheels. on the
Five
car,
wheels
yeah.
on the car.
But it looked like a banana, and he had to reach over and shut it off. It was still
Yeah.
running.
You know, it came down for years. It would come down to me and my brother-in-law Eric and Keith and Alan. I mean, at Bowling Green, time after time after time again. And Alan would leave me for dead. Next thing I know, I'm right in his door, you know, just staying legal. And he had a way bigger motor than me and a harder car, but I'd give him a fit for, you know, every year. But you know, we gained a mutual respect for each other over the years, you know, because I mean we both know you're going to be there. You know,
Yeah.
Used to be at Bowling Green, you could pretty much tell the top 5 when they showed
As
up
soon
in
as
the
you showed
pits.
up, yeah.
Well, and that was all. Like that's my deal. Anytime I go to a show, as long as mine will stay running, and we'll go into gear, like I'm 100% happy.
Because he has finally got away from Mopar transmissions.
Shut up.
It takes a while for some people.
It took him a minute. What took you out, Steven? Fuck 727.
904 did it a couple times.
I just got tired of looking for him on Marketplace.
That ain't no shit.
You know, the same guys will put trainings in their Dodge trucks, though.
Tried to talk me out of that, too.
Hold on, that last one.
The last one.
I had 250,000 on that one.
Did you have the tail mirrors up or down?
What?
Well, the mirrors up or down?
They were up. You mean you can fold those in?
Not if you're cool.
No, put that ghost trailer on the back of it, you don't.
Absolutely not. I don't know that they've ever been folded out. I'm not that kind of gay.
And you see you slid the U out in the A in.
You know, with me being away from it, there's things that, you know, the boys are always on TikTok and they watch all this newer stuff, and that ain't my jam, you know. And there is things and that I agree with, newer tips and stuff on building and new ways of building. But there are still some things that the old school stuff just works.
Just
I mean,
tried
it
and
just
true.
works, you know. And me and Tucker get into all the time about tires. 23s look cool, but 23s get your ass stuck.
Yep.
Which, you know, when we had Chad on the other day, there was a lot of stuff that we really did want to ask Chad, but we were kind of on a time frame. But Stephen brought it up, you know, when we went to Ohio to the Big Three at the King, video cameras everywhere, right?
I mean, they were
All over Pete's car, inside and out.
and JT's.
JT's, and they just kind of skim over Chad's. Because it wasn't the flashy shit.
No.
It wasn't the high polished,
But I promise you
cage
it'll work.
material.
Well, yeah, like
be
Correct.
you could throw your beer can on the ground through the back seat.
Didn't make it any harder.
No, that's
No.
what he said. He's like, why would I spend time there?
Yeah,
Chad-
I don't plan on going that direction.
I respect Chad a lot because he's an old school builder, but he makes some. I mean, he builds a hard car.
Yeah.
But he'll, you know, he builds a lot of stuff in house, you know, himself, and
Yep.
he does very well with it.
Well,
you know,
Just to back up your old school argument, we watched it. All those other guys read so deep into the rules and beat a rule to get the ass end of their cars as hard as Chad's, and his was 100% legit. He didn't have nuts welded to the side of his frame and all that bullshit. His bumper bracket made it to where he needed to be. And within the plate rule, he was allowed to do the exact same thing they did
yeah,
without having to, in quotations, beat their rule.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's how we get into. They'll show me, look at this, Dad, look at this, and I'll be like, it's cool. I mean, they spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on steel and welding wire, but what they did there is not going to affect what this is going to.
Well,
the end
and
result.
like I said,
you
I've
know?
got nothing but respect for Pete Hansen.
No, great. I mean, insane what he does.
And awesome dude to talk to. Like he's like you can go up to him and talk to him for an hour. Hell, we did. But yes, his doors looked badass out there, but way overkill.
Yeah.
It was the same thing that Chad did with 2 pieces of steel. And
Without
had
the 42
Yeah.
gussets in there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it's cool to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's badass, and it makes for good conversation. And if you've got the means to do it, by all means, roll with it. But like the way I was taught to build and shit, it was all functional. Didn't matter how the shit looked, as long as it worked.
So that's gonna kind of lead into the question. You know, Jeremy, you said it. You've been in it since '97.
97, yeah.
I'm sure your building has adapted a little bit, but from the last car that you ran at Border Wars in 21, am I correct?
Yep.
21 to now, that's just 4 years to this year of 25. The build process to you is the same, but the way the boys are wanting to progress, how can you weave in and out of that? Maybe try some of the new stuff that they're wanting to do, kind of on a basis of, you know, well, I'll try this one time. If it fucks up, it's Tucker, it's your ass.
And we'll do some stuff, and like I said, we'll get in arguments about things because some things that they want to do, I know I've tried it and it does not work. And but there is things that they showed me that we've tried, you know, and or are trying, and I think it's going to work, you know. But I'm still, you know, as far as wedging trucks, I'm still old school on that. I mean, I'd rather for it to make the flop and be able to control it, you know, and know what it's going to do, you know, because somebody's sitting there with a wedge truck and they take the bad shot. I mean, they're on the ground, you know. It's just the way it is. I've done it at Bash before, and like I said, I don't know. There's ups and downs of both ways, I guess, you know, but.
The last time that I think I saw your brother Tyler run it Macon, he was in a Ford, and he 3/4 tracked somebody in reverse. I don't know how many times. It was a lot, and I'm going to say 20, and it didn't look bad. It was old school trunk. It was tucked, it come up, it packed, and it was a brick wall, and then you finally started seeing some rails going in front of the humps.
Yep.
But it took that many shots of wide open, ass to nose, ass to ass, before it finally went.
Yeah.
And now, you know, what you said there, just that little bit of difference, maybe the new school isn't always right.
Yeah, I mean, I think in mods it's probably got its place, you know, but I say not always. You know, I think, at least in my set, I'd rather it roll and be able to contain it, you know, a little bit. But, you know, like, you know, Tyler's always wide open, so he's going to test it.
Correct.
I mean, he does one switch, it's on.
Yes. All the fucking way on.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm more of a conservative most of the time. I mean, I've driven both ways, but I'm a lot more conservative than he is as far as junking stuff in a hurry. But, yeah, I think, you know, like when Tucker, when him and the last Madison, he took a couple bad shots from Griffin down there, and he was nosed up pretty good, and he came out of there, and the ass in, I'm like, so I hope he learns, this is where he's going to learn to drive a car. I was like, you know, the front end was skidded, and he had to drive that car backwards, you know, the rest of that heat pretty well, you know, and that's where you get seat time. That's where you learn, you know, is learning things like that. You're tore up, but you can still keep it moving and make it get through there, you know.
Which that's one thing I did get to watch him at Bowling Green, and then I did get to watch him at Madison. I think he has paid attention to when you were running, because I do pay attention, and that's what I think is different from me than a lot of guys is he never lost his cool. Tucker was having an issue with the shifter. It's like it was wanting to hit the park lock, but it just wouldn't. So he was actually having to do some shit in there, but he never lost his cool. Now, Tucker, as you're going through there, is those scenarios playing in your mind, what am I going to have to do? And if you're trying to look a little farther forward into the show from the drop of the green flag, does that change your mentality a little bit?
Play it out and bag, just like Dad.
Well, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna commend you for it because I was watching you. You were starting to struggle, but he just never got flustered. So,
You know, and it takes seat time. You know, but him and Weston's both from Bowling Green to the end of the year is night and day. You know, and that's what Slane was the same way when he started. You know, it just seat time.
Well, what gets me is we've seen a lot of people try and then just get out. You know, you see guys run 2 or 3 shows,
oh yeah,
get discouraged, and they're done. And honestly, I feel like unless you've just got a crazy drive and that's what you want to do, you see a lot of guys go 10, 15 years and never win a show.
Mm-hmm.
You can honestly tell within the first 6 shows whether somebody's going to be worth a shit as far as them moving forward in the derby world, just by how they drive in their first 6 shows.
Mm-hmm.
You almost got to be crazy and stupid to keep doing it.
I'll
Yeah, but
agree with that.
if you keep running shows and haven't gotten any better, like
That's discouraging as fuck.
It's hard to keep
is
going.
what that is.
well, it is.
Yeah.
And I even think it's, you know, here's the deal. The youth classes are there for a reason, right?
Well, yes,
we've said that.
100%.
So,
That's one thing in this sport that has come around, tenfold, that I 100% support, because it gives the younger guys an opportunity to dip their toes in the water, and they're not out there just getting the shit kicked out of them
bingo.
by somebody that's been doing it for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because regardless of whether you want to admit to it or not, those guys, especially the ones that are mad dogs or put on a, the ones that you're always seeing the reels from on Facebook and shit, they will find a weaker car, and if they get a shot on it, they're
Go
fucking
time.
doing it.
Oh, yes. And no holding back.
No. Because they are the mad dogs, and that's how they've made their name and what they've done. I'm just saying, you don't see them go out there. You're not going to see them go out there and go head to head with the car that you felt like was going to win the motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why we let Weston and Tucker bump up at Madison, because we wanted to give them, after their first show or two, they got a little bit of seat time. You felt more comfortable with them being out there with the adults, and
Well, they can hide that door.
Yeah.
Or they can get out there and they can take care of themselves at that point.
so we let them bump up because we want to give them all the seat time we can. And now, and Lane was the same way when he started. He ran a youth class, a couple of them, and then he started bumping up and doing other stuff, and that gives them the seat time to learn more, and then you can let them go out after a year or two and do their thing.
Well, because you can watch all the TikToks or videos or YouTube videos or whatever you want to watch. There's no replacement for sitting behind the wheel of a car.
Definitely not.
And I mean, some people are just stupid like me. I'll just keep doing it and get my ass kicked. I just enjoy it.
I started in '97, and I never won a Derby until 2003, and then I won a lot in a row, all at once.
Well, Rob Hewer has said it a bunch. It takes a lot to
To
get
get
that
the first one.
Yep.
but then they'll start coming after that.
Yep.
And you know what? They come in waves. Like, I don't remember I had a car that I started out with Alpha in Madison 2016 or 17, and I won 4 shows in 5 weeks with that same car. I took to Salisbury and Shelbina and Madison and Warrenton. I mean, it was just week after, and that's saying. And when I finally took the stuff out of that car, the car truly wasn't junk. But Lane, I only had one drivetrain back then, and Lane needed it for a youth class in Bowling Green, so I took the stuff out and put it in the car. Otherwise, that car probably would have ran some more. But I mean, it just comes in waves. It seems like you'll be on a dry spell for a while, and I had a dry spell when I was trying to run big motors and stuff for a while. I went on a dry spell again, and I was burning out trainees, breaking drive shafts, and I'm like, I'm gonna calm back. I'm gonna step back to what worked, and what stayed together,
You just
because,
like that
I mean-
sound a little bit better, being the last son of a bitch running.
That's right.
Well, and it
The
does
bank
take
does too.
It does take a minute to get your setup figured out for what works for you. I honestly have never wanted a 700 horse motor. I don't. We've played around with gears in that 9-inch of mine, 2 or 3 different times, and finally I went with the stock 350 that's got a little bit of a camshaft in it, good intake, decent set of heads on it, good carburetor, and 529 gears and a 27-inch tall tire. It works.
Yep.
It doesn't put near the strain on the transmission.
Nope.
Those 529s take care of themselves. And I left second gear in that 400, so if you need it, it's there.
I mean, gears will make something sound like it ain't.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, be like, holy shit, Steven just spun the tires.
Yeah, he's pushing people.
Yeah, he's. I'm like, dude, you've got a fucked up wheel. I don't know if you know that or not. And he's over there trying to cut donuts and shit, but he actually had enough gear to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can take a piece of shit motor and put a gear behind it and have a decent motor.
Yeah. After the Weston Tucker was the first Madison, and I mean, both of them U shows were pretty wild, and there was some bashing on Facebook about building these kids big motors to run the youth class. People that weren't even derby people, just people in the stands. And I told one guy, I said, if you had a clue what was in his motor, you would not even be we wouldn't be having this conversation. You know, does it run? Does it stay running? Yes. Does it? Yeah, it has plenty of power. Yes, but it's not a big horsepower motor at all.
Everybody thinks I mean, we've had the conversation of, I don't know how many people, oh yeah, my 355's got 700 horse.
You better spend a lot of money.
A lot of money. And then I would ask them, well, what heads are on it? Oh, just double humps or, something stupid. Oh, they're not 18 degrees?
No.
What's that? Well, then you don't have 700 horse on the
you're
355.
Yeah.
What's Steven call it? A clapped out 350 is what
Yeah, everybody's like, I got a
is.
355. I was like, no, you don't. You got a wore out 350 is what you got.
Yeah.
I was like, now what you did to the top of it is going to be the determining factor in whether you have a real motor or not.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Since Justin has been on board with us at Hard Nose, we have figured out how much Broadhead Decals means to the sport of demolition derby. His great quality parts are seen from coast to coast and everywhere in between.
But he can do more than just derby products. Your everyday business may need some pep in its step with new banners or stickers. And just give him an idea and let him run with it. Whether it's business related or just want to look badass in the winner circle, let Broadhead Decals work for you.
We do. Triple B's Tees offer custom shirts and logo designs for all your apparel and merchandise needs, offering a variety of shirts, hats, hoodies, tumblers, and koozies. Triple B's will work with you one-on-one to personalize and perfect your logo. With over 5 years in the business, 20 years in the sport, they live for demolition derby.
Chunk and his crew can bring your imagination to realization with zero limitations. So for all your badass tees, choose Triple B's.
I got one. There we go.
You do that one.
When are we going to see the B&B charter membership come into effect?
Well, B&B didn't buy a Bristol charter, so I don't think I'm going to have any charters myself. I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, we'll put it like that.
I really wanted to see that taken off harder than what it is.
I told you I watch stuff before I do it. And I would have never even thought about going to Tennessee. I did think about it. And the only thing that got me even thinking about it, because two of the people that were involved in it, that I trust and take for what they say, I trust them, But if it wasn't for that, that's the only thing that got some people even going out, in my opinion. Was two of the people they had heading things up.
Yes.
Because we got to see that little shake-up, here, what was that, a month ago? Mm-hmm.
For sale and on sale.
Yeah. Well, and it was like some of the guys local to us.
Yes.
Now, whether some of that be geographical issues or whatever, I just, as hard as they were pushing everything, I'm not saying that they're still not pushing it, but it just seemed like it was coming out of the hole a lot harder than what it's been followed up with.
Anytime it's something new, it's either going to be specialized or crucified.
Right. And like I said, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that
I like
it's
to
not
see
for
it.
everybody.
Right.
I'd like to see it succeed. Truly, I would, because I'd like to you be able to tune in on a Sunday and watch a Derby or Saturday, like NASCAR. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. But it's not for me. That's not what I'm looking for.
We've talked to damn near everybody we've got on, and I like hearing the other opinions. And honestly, Brian more so than Dustin, likes hearing the bad and the good.
Yes.
Dustin, he's more emotional about. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to that stuff, Brian is more, straight line focused on how to make it better or right their wrongs or whatever. So we try to get everybody's opinion on it. I know that I really did think that it was going to. I was hoping they kept the same energy as whenever they dropped it.
Going through with the second and the third shows.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly, I guess, in my thoughts behind the whole demo deal is I was expecting to see it, pop up at maybe Kansas Motor Speedway or, Nevada.
That's what I was hoping to see it moving, so it's closer to your area.
Phoenix,
Indy.
Yeah, So,
even Wheatland. Wheatland's got an awesome facility that could have a big show down there. They used to have shows down there. That's an awesome track. And
we
stuff.
had that show. And I backed out because we could not logistically come together
when they were wanting it,
wasn't it?
With everything else, and
like whenever they were wanting their time frame on when it had to happen for them wouldn't work for me to even make it feasible to get the cars and shit there.
Yeah,
because they were wanting it right tucked in there right after Carnage, wanting it to be one of the first shows out of the gate. And it's really hard to start something that's new that early.
Now,
I think
Wheatland does have a show.
Yeah, they
this
do.
year.
Yeah, I'd like to see it somewhere too that you could have, I guess, more crowd, at it. So, like in all reality, for what was in the stands, hell, Macon, Missouri puts more people in the stands, than what was down there.
We talked. I think we had more at Palmyra, honestly, than was on site at Bristol.
Yes.
I kind of expected that, all bullshit aside, being the first year.
Yeah.
Because I went to 3 or 4 different places while I was down there, and nobody even knew there was a derby going on.
Yeah. I think the racetrack thing's awesome, but what if they'd had 3 days of rain?
Well, they had a fucking hurricane the week before.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It was a hurricane,
it was
tornado.
right in there. Yeah, because I got caught up in some of that.
It was
shit on the way
bad
down
shit.
there. Yeah.
And I think if you might not have had that could have changed the outlook of people going to the show to be in person.
And maybe not, because I'm telling you right now, when I was down there talking to local people from Bristol, they did not know that there was we run into the same shit at King of Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Because
right across the street, bar and grill.
We hit the end of the fucking street to get out to go get beer at this little convenience store. And then right next to it was a badass pizza place. We walked in there and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" We're like, "Hey, we've never been here before." They're like, "Oh, where are you from?" "Missouri." And they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I'll tell you, I'll give credit to, I forgot the guy's name. When we went to Stanton, Nebraska, he's the one that puts on that fair, takes care of the fair out there.
That was Andrew Haney.
And he is awesome at going around that town, telling everybody what's going on. And you walk into any food establishment, they are glad you're there. They know why you're there. They thank you. They appreciate that whole town is in them stands.
Well,
there's 1,500 people in that town.
We talked about this. 90% of My advertisement that was like well placed was local radio stations, you know, to whatever area you were in. Because you can ask you can go ask 15 people, and if they say they all listen to the same radio station, that's the one you need to advertise with.
Yep.
Local newspapers. You know, hell, we went as far to go to some of the local coffee shops, and I'd go in there and give them $150, and I'd be like, whoever comes in on, you know, this weekend, buy their coffee. You know, that they come in and drink. And I was like, tell them that, you know, we did it. We're having an event at your all's local fairgrounds and shit. And I feel like that was a PR miss on some of these bigger shows.
Yeah.
Because where they're having them, they appeal to the Derby crowd and not the people that, because you putting on derbies, the money for those shows comes from the stands.
Exactly.
It doesn't come from the drivers.
No. You know, and that's like the thing about Bristol, too. If you know, a lot of people save money to go to Kansas for 3 or 4 days, you know, to pay for the motel and everything they're doing. So a lot of people, if they're going to, you know, if you're going to go to a NASCAR race, it's going to be rescheduled for the Monday and Tuesday or whatever. But if you go there, what were they going to do, you know? So if your family had paid for a trip to go out there and they get rain for 3 days, I mean, is your family not going to get anything for their vacation, you know? Or, that was like, I mean, because you're different, you know, going that far. It's going to cost.
Well, and we talk about it all the time. You know, that's why I've laid out way hard on going to Topeka, because there's not shit to do out there, and especially with our little kids that we've got now. I want them to go with us. Well, there ain't shit to take a kid to do in Topeka, Kansas.
No.
Now
they don't appreciate baby dolls the same way you do.
Right, exactly. Now, maybe one of these days, whenever Morris gets a little older, you know, he will appreciate it the same way I do.
Yeah.
But like, we went to South Dakota, and I wanted to go out and kind of feel out, you know, how all that was. I could have 100% taken my children out.
Promise
there
you.
because you know, there was just so much to do locally.
Yeah.
There was a
Hot
badass,
Springs, Arkansas.
Yes.
You think nothing. That was one of our favorite shows to go to all the time. Was
I
down
had
in Hot
a
Springs.
blast down there.
Good time.
Yes.
You know, go look at stuff. That town's the same way. They know a derby's going on.
And see, I feel like the whole Bristol deal was a little bit misrepresented. Nobody told everybody how close they were to
Gatlinburg.
the cool shit of Tennessee. You know, Gatlinburg was an hour and 15 minutes from where we were at. And 100% had enough time that if I hadn't got like shit hammered, you know, the first few nights, like we could have got up at
Garage beer got him.
I did too. At 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning and been in Gatlinburg, fucked off until after lunch.
And then
Come
drove
back
right
and
back.
still made the show.
Yes.
And not been way out of our way and beat down and tired. And that's why I like like Vegas. I'm not saying that that's kid friendly, but
I hope it comes back.
But that's a destination derby. Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, you can go out, beat the shit out of your car, but you and your old lady can also go hit the strip up.
Yep, or go right over to Fremont Street
Yeah.
and drink all the alcohol.
Well, I mean, you know, that's what I'm saying whenever it comes to shit like that, because, like, my wife, yeah, she enjoys derbying and stuff, but she doesn't want to sit at the fucking track all weekend.
Correct.
Yeah. You know, that's one thing about mine. She ate it up. There's been times over the years that I've talked about slowing down or stopping before I did, you know, and she was more into it than I was. Like, her dad did it, her brother did it. She was ate up with it when we met, you know.
Yeah.
And mine has been very supportive in that shit, but, like, we go out there to Topeka, and if you're not running or whatever, you're sitting there from 7 o'clock in the morning until whatever showtime is, walking around the pits, bouncing around. Usually people are busy, so you're not trying to bother them unless you're helping them and shit. Well, I guess, hey, babe, let's go to Sonic. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, let's go to Sonic.
yeah,
And then we need to run over here to O'Reilly's.
right.
Those are the two facilities next to
Uh-huh. And
Starmont
I can't
Vale
go to
Event
Baby
Center.
Dolls anymore.
You cannot. You
Got a
have
pretty
been
nice
kicked
golden
out.
corral down there too.
You can't go. You got kicked out of
miss
Baby
that.
Dolls, huh?
Oh yeah, bad deal. That was a bad deal.
That was a drunk Steven deal.
Well,
I kind of want to know now.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, it wasn't. I fucking snatched this dude up over the bar. Well, that wasn't the issue. The issue was that he was the fucking owner.
Does make a difference.
Yeah, big time. They were like, "You need to get the fuck out of here." I was like, "Yeah, you're probably right."
Yeah, you're probably
Because I thought it was just another bartender. I was wrong.
Let's clarify this real fast.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, "You ain't making me go nowhere." He's like, "Oh, I will." He's like, "I own this fucking place." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
I guess I'm going to leave now.
So the door's over there, right?
See, I've never got to partake into it.
Just trying to visit your long lost
There's
kid.
still time. There's still time.
It's coming
It's
up in a couple
going
weeks.
to be rough to get me to go back to Blizzard Bash. I'm not going to lie, guys.
You missed your mark at South Dakota. There's a badass titty club out there too.
You know, Baby Doll's a remodel, I've heard.
Really?
Like they're not so trashy as
I
they
wonder
used
if
to be.
well, that was kind of the reason I like going there.
I agree. Like, it's kind of the allure of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they cost half the money, do twice as much.
Don't know if you're going to see a nice. Don't know if you're going to see a nice rack or get stabbed.
Hey, for an extra $10, she's going to show you some real cool shit this time.
Last time I heard, they had underage Catholics in there, so they let anybody in.
And honestly, I hated to see the show go from Peoria. I ain't gonna lie.
I loved it up there. It was a good time.
One of the most fun shows that I ever went to.
Yeah, I loved it.
You can always
Yeah.
walk around and have stuff to do too.
Oh,
There's lots to
100%. Yeah, I mean, there was, casino close.
Restaurant right across the road of the bar was pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, we
100%.
enjoyed it. Hotel, you could walk in the breezeway and be there.
Yes.
Like I liked it.
Best steak I'd ever had at a strip club, hands down.
Tube or flat?
Yes.
I'm not sure it was flat iron when it started.
Thursday nights, dollar domestics. That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a hangover waiting to happen. That's
We
all
literally had them bringing beer out by the dolly.
Well, that happens when AB's there and Twisted Tea and
They said, "How many of these do you want?" I said, "Are they really $1?"
All of
Yeah. I said, "I want all of them."
So I'll tell you a little story on Steven. He had
This is the first time that me and him actually got to hang out.
he had
know exactly where he's going with this.
kind of first got his first good job, I'd say, like working on the road, making some money. And right before Blizzard Bash, he gets laid off. Got a pocket full of money. He's buying everybody in Section 117 beer all night long. And next day he's like,
Oh, fuck.
my bank account's empty. I got laid off yesterday.
well, what some people who listen don't really know about Steven, he's actually said there's times when you spend money like you're slinging bricks
Yep.
for El Chapo, and he's openly admitted that. That was one of those times.
It was a good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
Well, that was the next year they implemented the rule. You couldn't buy boxes of beer after that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't that year because I drank a lot of your beer.
Well, I was going up there and just buying them. Like, they were like, "How many you want?" I was like, "Just the case. Just give me the case."
So I kind of did the same thing. I'd worked on the road, and I got laid off in November sometime, And Andrea was at work when I got home that day, and she gets home, and I had a big screen TV in the living room. Before we had a little. This is like the first flat screens when they were heavy and still weighed stuff, and they were expensive. So I just got laid off that day, and I come home and I buy a 60-inch flat screen, and she comes home and she is torqued. Why'd you buy that? You just got laid off. I said, well, I got time to watch it now.
What the year he's talking about, that had to be like 14 or 15.
I'd say, yeah.
Because I was working for Columbia Curb and Gutter, and hell, I think I made $85,000 or $86,000 that year.
I think you spent 10 of it there.
I bet I spent $6 out
Yeah.
there, didn't you? I know that night I spent $1,500 buying beer. The first night we were out there.
That's the same year Grismore went out there.
No, it's a different year.
No, but I remember that year too. That was whenever he was knocking on random doors trying to get in a hotel room.
Well, this is the first year they got kicked out of the Plaza. The second year we had to go to the Ramada. I didn't know Grismore from Adam.
This is 12.
And he is running down the hallways of the Ramada Inn with his pants off and underwear. And this 350-pound cop is chasing him. And he's swatting his rear end as he's running down the hallway. Andrea said, "Who is this?" I'm like, "Well, that's the guy. He's in our heat." And then we come back in, and there's a waterfall in the front of there. Dylan Oliver's peeing in it right at the front door. And she's like, "Where did you bring me?"
Well, there's this place called Blizzard Bash.
I've had a lot of fun out there.
I have to.
Yeah, back whenever the whole the Section 117 thing was like at full stride, it was ridiculous. Like it was going to get rowdy every night.
Like we had to earn that, though. Or Teddy had to earn that.
Yeah.
Like Teddy had to be good for 12 months for us to have that section. Like the deal was made, and Sam said Teddy could not be Teddy for 12 months, and we could have that section reserved.
Oh, leave it to Ted.
Well, we got it.
We got it.
I had enough fun there that's my car number. So
Yeah.
Bill even had banners made.
yeah. So that was definitely like that's why I'll always have like a soft spot for Blizzard Bash because like I met so many good, just badass people out there.
And they kind of were the forefathers, I guess you say. I mean,
100%.
they were the first ones to bring that kind of show.
National recognition to Demolition Derby.
Correct. And now you can go to pretty much any state
We can call a wrong number and end up at a national
and go
show.
to a national
Yeah.
show. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
That has brought opportunity for people that would have never got to run at Blizzard Bash. So whether that has helped or hurt, that's a matter of
I
opinion
think
and a
it's-
lifelong discussion you could get into there.
And in all reality, it's probably helping some of your local fairs too. Because no matter what people say, some people won't go to a show if they know these guys are coming. If they're
Correct.
big name
This is
drivers
logic
or whatever.
I've been trying to push for the last 2 years on this podcast. Exactly what the fuck he's saying right now. Because that's whenever Demo was doing all their thing, and everybody's like, how the fuck is that going to help my local county fair? Well, it's going to get Rob Hewer and Teddy and all those guys out of your local show because they've got somewhere that they've got to be. And it's going to give your 15-year-old kid an opportunity to go out there and run his grandma's Caprice and not get folded up in the fucking corner in the first 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because most people aren't brain dead like me. They don't call out Jake on the first round.
Right.
Like, they want to run against him, but here I am.
I didn't get asked. I got voluntold. So
Voluntold.
Hey, Lane,
This is what
we're calling out Jake. Fuck.
He said, "Who's his partner?" I said, "George." He's like, "Fuck." He said, "What are they running?" I said, "A Cadillac 902, I'm sure." He's like, "Okay."
Monty Lovin against the Cadillac and
Pinto
Pacer against the 2000.
I like my chances.
That seems like a good place to let them get back with their Sunday.
Yep.
Before we do cut off, guys, I would like to tell everybody there's spots open at Bowling Green. They're playing big money
Oh, yeah.
for the team show. They're paying out like $31,000.
The rules ain't that far apart either.
And Chad is a fair inspector.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Chad. And sign up, get it filled up.
They're throwing the money at it. If you're wanting to run locally and get that team show setting, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
The rules are close enough for everybody else so you can change a little bit of stuff and go somewhere else if you need to.
Yep. You know, if you have that bullshit stuff happen or you know,
Yeah.
misfortune in the heat or whatever, you will have an opportunity to run somewhere else. Because from what I'm understanding on the internet, it sounds like Austin is going to do some type of team show and is going to allow pre-runs.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that right there,
That,
I mean,
that's and we
that's an
probably
out.
before we
Yeah.
need to hit. Southern number 9. That schedule has been brought out since he's kind of all in one piece
yeah.
again after Blizzard Bash. So maybe looking at that Terry show being a 2-dayer. There is that possibility out. Some team show action. They're going to start with Griggsville May 3rd.
Which Austin's been wanting to put on a team show for
Yes,
a minute.
yes, he's talked to us.
That 90s class may be interesting too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's going to spark a lot of guys' interest. The
Oh,
old
yeah.
guys.
Yep.
Well, they want that old fat man
Oh yeah.
derby build.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody misses that.
Oh yeah. You put guys like Frank Hodgencock in that position.
Oh, yeah.
Sean
Oh, yeah.
Pfeiffer. I mean, they
Oh, yeah.
shine. And that'd be it's going to be a good show. I think that will be.
and we will be all up in it because that is the week after Day of Reckoning.
Yeah.
He's added where you're claiming parts and everything else now in that class too. Claiming motors,
Yes,
bearings.
yeah, I saw that.
That's
So
pretty
that
cool.
takes that. Man, do I want to put my good son?
Well, that's old school shit right there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I remember that shit back in the day.
Yep.
Cost you a little bit of cash, but if you were right,
You're good. I've seen people not right.
Yep.
400.
I've seen them on protesting cars same way too.
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
I had a guy so mad at me one night on that car. I told you about it. And go ahead. I like to take home some more cash.
Wasn't that a Shelbina?
Yeah. Yeah, they were mad.
I was
Flat
there.
mad.
I was there. Well, guys, thanks for finally getting to sit down with us.
yeah. Because if you think about this, Sundays used to be off limits
Mm-hmm.
at the
Yep.
Baker compound.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't take calls or nothing.
Nope, that was his day.
I'm gonna start doing that shit. No
Yeah,
calls
you
on
are.
Sunday. Thanks, guys, for, like I said, letting us come over and hang out, bug the shit out of you. Good luck at Salisbury. I'm going to say this. You're going to need it.
It'll be fun no matter what happens.
That's right.
I'd bring
That
some
is
in-car
right.
cameras
I
probably.
promise you know what happens. I wouldn't. If I was you guys, I'd show up. I wouldn't be late to the show. I'd make sure I was there for the first
You
heat.
better be there for the first one, boys and girls.
Jake said the same thing online. So
Well, brother man, got any last words? Make junk, boys. Fisher built. Fuel tanks are the next generation of fuel tanks on the demolition derby parts market to date. With stainless steel construction, every tank is internally welded, braced, baffled, and pressure tested, with 2 standard size options available.
Fisher built tanks have you covered. From your local county fair shows all the way to your national level events, where you need maximum fuel capacity and structural integrity to get you to the end. If you are in need of a next level design tank, or you just need a second fuel tank for your new setup, give Fisher Built a chance to earn your business. You won't be disappointed.